This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
White trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. Cat drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to a King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, tomorrow's your birthday.
Yeah, tomorrow is my birthday.
Once this comes out, your birthday will have already passed. But happy birthday to you.
6:50 a.m., I think.
6:50 a.m.
Yeah,
That's very specific.
The story goes, my dad was trying to make another pot of coffee. And I was almost born in a kitchen because my dad was like, "Oh, you can hold it in just a little longer.
Sure.
I'm just gonna make a quick pot of coffee." And my mom was like, "F the coffee. Either we leave now, or you're gonna be birthing your son right here in the kitchen. So let's go." So
yeah. And which did he choose?
He chose to hurry and run out the door.
That's good.
Yeah. They didn't delay it much longer than that.
That's awesome. Okay, so we are season 4, episode 12, Rodeo Days.
Episode 12, Rodeo Days. Yeah.
Good episode. Bobby-centric episode.
Bobby-centric.
Very little Boom, Dale, Bill, some Bill. Very little Peggy.
Not
which
bad,
is
though.
amazing.
Not
yeah,
bad, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the voice actor, but
Sure.
I'm not a fan of
Peggy
Peggy in the show at this point.
Peggy's
where we're
been
at.
kind of a star in the last few. So, all right. So we open this
Well,
sucker.
yeah. This not only just the last few, but the beginning and end of
Yeah, that's true.
the end of last season, the beginning of this season were all like surrounding her, and then like the first 4 episodes were kind of centric to her.
Yeah,
This
a lot
like
of shitty
chunk
Peggy.
of season 4, you get a lot of Peggy. It seems like.
So we started with No Bell, No Yell. We got Bobby and Hank in a Strickland propane tank truck, and they're driving through the countryside, passing a lot of cows and things like that.
As Texas, I mean, if you're driving in between
yeah.
any two major cities, there's at least an hour worth of nothing in between each one.
Sure. Yeah, there's an hour worth of nothing. There are some cows, lots of flat land. Not a lot to look at.
Not much, especially if you get up west into the Panhandle
West
and stuff like
Texas.
west
Ooh,
northwest area. Yeah, nothing. Really nothing.
Yeah.
Really desolate.
That puts you to sleep.
Yeah. I think the only thing they have out there are 72-ounce steaks and Cadillacs stuck in the ground.
Stuck in the ground.
Yeah.
So Bobby and Hank are in this truck. They're driving through the countryside. We see some cows on the side of the road. Bobby says, "This is nice country. Maybe I'll retire out here and tell them all to go to hell." Which I think is great.
Yeah, that's a great
And
line.
I
That's
love-
a perfect way to start the episode, too.
I just love the fact that Hank doesn't even respond to that. He
Yeah.
goes, "This may seem like an exotic getaway from the hustle and bustle of the alley, but if you lived out here for a month, you'd go crazy." Bobby says, "Cows seem happy." Hank says, "Well, that's because they're not being slaughtered. Talk to them again in 2 weeks."
Yeah, just a really good start. That's a really good setup for the whole show.
It's
yeah.
wonderful, yeah. They turn into an old house out there in the country, and they get out, and they're going to deliver the propane. He looks, he says to Bobby, "The people out here are simple folk, but if you don't put on any airs," and they, oh, God. And he sees their propane tank has been painted up like a cow. Now,
How do you think Hank feels about a propane?
He doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it.
No.
Is it not Americana enough for him?
I think it's Americana. I think it's just they have sullied the good tank.
Do you think he cares about? Do you think Hank is somebody who participates in like Americana? Do you think he because it's that whole thing where you've got the American flag windmill in your front yard and all that. That's a whole thing. Do you think he's that patriotic or that national?
That's like hand in hand with the shabby chic stuff.
I just don't think he cares.
I don't think so.
I think he's a guy that goes and gets like off-white paint and that's it. That's
crazy for him. Is off-white.
Crazy for him. That's
eggshell. Sometimes.
Eggshell, a little eggshell.
Got a little sheen to it. So he's taken back when he sees that cow-painted propane tank, and Bobby says, "Is that a propane tank?" Hank just says, "Madness." He goes, "This is the essence of prop comedy. You take something boring and you make it fun." And then he walks over there and he's talking to the cow tank and he goes, "So is it premium and have you been regular?" And then he sticks his hand under it and says, "Cough for me."
He's funny. Yeah.
It's a great joke.
Bobby's good,
it's a good joke. Hank just kind of shakes his head. One of the guys.
He wants to laugh. I don't care what Hank knows. He's funny. Hank knows that's funny.
I think Hank at some point is just like, man, where did this kid get this? Because this ain't me.
I think he's scared to laugh.
I think he is too.
I think he's like terrified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Terrified of humor.
So over on the side, we see a young guy in a cowboy hat. He's practicing roping a calf. And then Roy comes up, who's the customer there. He goes, "How's it going, Hank?" He says, "Well, howdy, Roy. Your boy's pretty handy with a rope." Roy says, "Yeah, he's shaping up for the rodeo next week." "That's your boy?" And they look over at Bobby, and he's still talking to the cow propane tank. And he goes, "Truth is, if you're under 40, you don't need this test."
He's just riffing with nobody watching. Yeah, nobody's paying attention. He's just riffing on the cow tank.
Great jokes. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's early. I'm drinking coffee. Now we're at the Hill House. Hill House at night. They're all at dinner. This is Hank and Peggy and Bobby and Luann sitting around. And Bobby is saying, "It was like me and the tank were playing off each other. We had a tough crowd, but I finally got a smile out of that Roy guy. I was in the zone. Hey, Dad, could we paint your grill like a monkey?"
Is this the early foundation of the Propaniacs? Is that what we're seeing? Or we're seeing like the precursor? Like this might be the episode that you could consider the birth episode of the whole idea of the Propaniacs.
Yeah.
Prop comedy surrounding propane.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hank says, "Bobby, you know how you used to dress up like a cowboy? Well, now you can do it for real. The rodeo's coming to town." He doesn't even respond to the fact that he wants to paint his grill like a monkey.
No.
He's just like, "All right, let's redirect this. Kid, you need to do something." He says, "Rodeo's coming to town." Luann says, "The rodeo's cruel to animals. In nature, the bull lives peacefully with the giraffe." "No, it doesn't, Luann.
They don't even live.
Not a thing.
They don't even live in the same biosphere."
Peggy says, "It is brutal. My uncle was a cowboy in the rodeo. He had to leave Vietnam because he was waking up with rodeo nightmares."
Oh, that's another thing.
That's a great joke, though. I mean,
yeah, that is a great joke. But Dale's dad's a rodeo guy too.
Yeah. He's a gay rodeo clown.
A gay rodeo clown. Yeah.
Is he a clown or is he a?
No.
He rides.
No, I think he is
No, I think he is a clown. Yeah, I think he's a rodeo clown.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Hank says, "It's just a kid's calf scramble. It's fun. The animals are running around without any plays or game plans or anything, kind of like Barry Switzer was coaching them." So Barry Switzer,
poor guy.
He was the guy from Oklahoma that took over coaching the Cowboys after Jimmy Johnson left.
And that's the hell he gets.
Well,
he got the Super Bowl with Jimmy Johnson's schemes.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
His team, his playbook.
He didn't have to do anything. He just stepped in and just let the team keep playing.
He was just a puzzle. It was just a puzzle piece, and it was like having a full puzzle piece already put together, and you're just like a random puzzle piece from a different puzzle somewhere else,
but
and
you're
just
what?
there.
No matter what, Barry Switzer still has a Super Bowl ring.
He's got the Super Bowl ring.
So,
he didn't even.
whatever
He didn't really have to do much.
That's right.
And it's funny because now as time's gone on, what's his name? Guy that owns the Cowboys.
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones. Now that time has gone on, he admits that he wrongfully switched coaches out.
Drunk.
He should have left Jimmy Johnson.
They got pissed off at each other, and he just fired him.
Well, because they were friends too.
Yeah,
that was
they were
the thing.
big friends.
They were buddies from
Going
like
way
college
back.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's funny though is that he now admits that he would have had he could have had a really good dynastic run.
I think he could have had a couple more Super Bowls.
Two
to be
more
honest
probably
with you.
at least.
Yeah,
At least
that's what
two
I'm saying.
more back to back.
Well, he would have had the one that Switzer Switzer coached, and then he probably could have had
probably
one
could have
more.
got the next one.
Yeah, and that would have been 5 super. I mean,
and that was back
4
before there
Super
was like a lot of arguments about like pay. Like guys were
sure.
really like there wasn't a lot of like confrontation about pay at that time because
Not a whole heck of a lot.
Because pay had increased. Like everybody was like satisfied at that time with pay in that that early 90s, mid 90s era.
I've never been a big fan of the Cowboys because growing up, my parents and everybody around me loved the Cowboys, so I was an Oilers fan. Just to say, stick it to them. And then I never got any satisfaction out of that. But
no, not at all.
But Troy Aikman was a hell of a quarterback.
So are you a Tennessee Titans fan now?
I am a Tennessee Titans fan.
So you followed because you were a part of the Houston Oilers at the beginning, so you followed them to Tennessee.
And it's because I hate myself. So that's part of it too.
I don't know, Tennessee's.
Yeah, okay. Every year.
They've got good pieces. They've
always
got a good piece.
They do have good pieces. I get excited at the beginning of every year, and they let me down at the end of every year.
Well, I'm a Houston Texans fan.
Yeah.
So if you were
in
talking
trouble.
about disappointment.
Yeah, you're in big trouble.
I've been disappointed since 2005.
Okay, and Hank says...
maybe if we showed some more support,
I'm
instead of jumping off the bandwagon every time it was a little hard.
I still have a Brock Osweiler jersey.
When has it gotten good?
Yeah, I don't care that it's almost your birthday. I've lost respect for you, Rusty.
I still wear a Brock Osweiler jersey.
You say when it gets a little hard. When has it not been hard for the Houston Texans?
Hey, Mike, you know what?
Yes,
you
sir.
need to just in
we got it this
all
year,
respect.
Hey, you know what?
We got it this
Love
year.
you, blue.
We got it this year though. We got a playoff team.
That's what the Cowboys always say, and it's never their year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And I'm okay with that. So he says it's like Barry Switzer was coaching him. Bobby says I like the part where I'm running around with veal, which that's a dark joke, Bobby.
That is pretty dark.
Hank says, and you'd be performing in front of crowds, Bobby. You know, a lot of Cowboys become entertainers. Gene Autry, Roy Rogers. Bobby pops up and says, Roy Rogers makes a good burger. Now, I want to make a point here. There is no Roy Rogers burger chain in Texas. The only places they are Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and that's it.
But did they have them in the 90s?
I don't believe so.
They never
I don't
had
think
it
Roy
in
Rogers
Texas.
has ever come this far south.
So it's like a mid-Atlantic, northeastern kind of thing, like up that way.
Well, think about it. Roy Rogers was like a star-spangled cowboy, and so it's mostly east, mid-east, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right. He says he makes a good burger. Hank says, yes, he does. He goes, Peggy, I had some good clothesline somewhere. And Peggy says, it's up with the wine glasses, which it's a great little reference because it shows you how often they use the wine glasses.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
I was looking at this Roy Rogers thing. So apparently this restaurant was acquired by the Marriott in 68, right?
Yeah.
It used to be called Roby's Roast Beef.
Roby's Roast Beef.
But Arby's sued the shit out of them and made them rebrand.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hank is asking about this clothesline because he's going to let Bobby use it as rope to try to practice. So the next thing we see, we're in the garage driveway. It's Bobby with his lasso clothesline, and Peggy is out there moving the grill around like it's a cow.
Yeah.
And she's out there going murr murr. And she goes, "Come on, Bobby, rope that cow." Bobby's out there lassoing it, and he goes whoosh, and he lassos the sucker. And Hank says, "Hey, all right, son. Now that's a skill. It'd be good to use a live animal, but we don't want to hurt Ladybird." And he starts thinking. Next thing we see is Bill riding by on his riding lawnmower.
Yeah.
And he lassos him, pulls him off of it, and the mower just goes into a bush. It's just still going into that bush. He says, Bill says, or Boomhauer on the side watching says, "Tell you what, man, got a hog tie old Bill like dang old 10-pound rump roast, man. Oh, dang old had it once in New Guinea, man. Tastes like pigeon." Okay, so is he talking about eating human flesh?
It appears that way, but I don't know.
That's what he's saying.
I would hope not.
I think that's what he's saying. Hank says, "I think he has the goods to turn pro." Bobby, not Bill. And, of course, he's over there unroping Bill. And Bill says, "Hey, Bobby, ow, my wrist. If I hadn't been drinking my beer, that would have been right around my neck." Joseph says, "Bobby's going to kick butt at that rodeo. Mr. Dotrieve is much smarter and faster than any baby cow." Bill goes, well, quicker over short distances. I mean, Bill's even putting himself down.
Yeah, he is.
Bobby says, with Bill still on the ground, we should do the rodeo together. All you need is your parents' permission. He's talking to Joseph. Joseph says, oh, Dad, can I? And Dale says, sure, son, you can ask your mom. So he can't make any decisions
without Nancy.
Yeah. Let's see.
Or he doesn't want to make decisions, so he defers it to mom.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care, go ask your mom.
Yeah. They Bobby and Joseph are out there practicing, and you see them lasso the Bugabago. Dale comes immediately out and cocks
the queen.
Well, he comes out with his shotgun and cocks it. And he goes, untie the queen. Then next you see them lasso and hog tie Bill in the alley. And Bill says, record time. Like, you big idiot. Okay. So now we're at Rhinestein's Cowboy.
Yep.
Not Rhinestone Cowboy, but Rhinestein's. This is one of the Jewish families, I guess, in Arlen there that owns Rhinestein's. Bobby comes out in chaps, and he's like, oh, I feel quicker in these pants. Hooky, 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 hooky. And then he turns around, and he has no underwear on.
Yeah.
His butt. Second episode in a row where we're seeing somebody's butt. Last time it was Bill's. This time it's Bobby's. And he's just shaking his ass. And he looks around and goes, oh, hello there, to his butt. Hank is just mortified. He goes, Bobby, pants. Oh, by the way, I missed one thing. There is a sign in the window of Rhinestein's Cowboy that says, yes, we have sequins.
It was just funny that you were mentioning Western wear. And I can see Kessner's right here across the bridge here in
Kessner's
in
old
East
Western
Waco.
wear place, here in East Waco.
I think that building's been there since like the
it's been there forever.
1800s, like the late 1800s.
Mm-hmm. He goes, Bobby, pants. Peggy comes over and says, the salesman said children's Western wear. The hard thing is if you don't want husky sizes.
If you don't want husky sizes, yeah.
Hank is looking up at the wall, and he sees this painting. And it's got the Dallas Cowboys, including Troy Aikman and stuff, on horses riding around in the Old West, right? And he goes, look at that painting, Peggy.
Look like an AI-generated image. Yeah.
He goes, look at that painting, Peggy. Great art makes you think. And what I'm thinking is maybe the rodeo is what Bobby was cut out for. Bobby's over there. They look over, and he's in a cowboy hat, and he's all in denim. He goes, let's go eat some steaks. I mean, that's wonderful. Yeah. Hank is in his best spot now. He gets to go eat a steak. His boy's a cowboy. He's feeling pretty damn good. Now we're at the Heimlich County Rodeo, and they're walking up to registration, and Bobby sees the guy at the registration booth, and he says, hey, how'd you get that belt buckle? I want a belt buckle. The guy says, well, I won it in bull riding in Tucson. He says, wow, how'd she get that belt buckle? And he points over to a girl in hot pants with a big belt buckle with a couple of cowboys around. He goes, oh, that's a buckle bunny. She got that by being friends with a cowboy.
So I'll go ahead and break this down for those of you that don't know anything about
buckle
rodeos, because rodeos I think are like people think of it as the South, but I don't even think of it as the South. I think it's like Southwest, because I don't just hear about like people in Georgia doing rodeos. I'm sure there is, but
I'm sure.
It's like, to me, whenever I think of rodeo, I think of the Southwest. But a buckle bunny is like the equivalent of a roadie.
Yeah, it's a groupie
for a groupie. Sorry, not a roadie. A groupie is like a groupie for a rodeo. So it would be somebody that's jumping on the tour bus to see what everything's going on. Friends with the Cowboys.
May or may not get very close with those Cowboys.
You could watch the Dallas Buyers Club. And
is that having it?
That has
never seen that. I really mean to watch that. Every time
it's about AIDS.
Yeah.
And rodeo and everything around it. But that's what it is he gets AIDS from a buckle bunny.
I like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah,
though. I think
he gets the sexually transmitted disease from having sex with buckle bunnies.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about it is at that time everybody associated it with being a gay disease, like only gay people can have AIDS.
Sure.
So he was a rodeo guy that had AIDS, and now everybody was saying, "Oh, you must be gay because you have AIDS," and he had to go through that whole thing in the movie or whatever. And what it was is that AIDS medication, all the experimental stuff that was being used in Europe couldn't be used in the United States because it wasn't FDA approved.
Sure.
So they started a club. So you paid a subscription to be a part of the club, and all the experimental drugs, because you legally could have them, you just couldn't distribute them. You could use them and do whatever you wanted for yourself, but you just couldn't distribute them or sell them. So they would give them away, but you would just subscribe to the club.
Yeah,
and that's why it's called Dallas Buyers Club.
Wow, I did not know that. And so he goes, yeah, she got that by being friends with a cowboy. Bobby says, hey, even if I don't win, I can be a buckle bunny. He says that to Hank. Yeah. Hank says, just give him the forms. Now, the PA announcer is announcing while everybody walks into the rodeo, into the stands. It's Hank, Bobby, Peggy, Joseph, Nancy, Redcorn, and Dale. So it's a double date. The PA guy says, now, if our young cowpokes are ready, it's time for a calf scramble. 20 calves, 20 boys, one to a customer, please. First boy to hog tie his calf wins a $50 savings bond, courtesy of Atherton Fuel, selling the heat with warmth.
Did you ever do calf scrambles?
No.
You never participated in one?
No, I did not.
I did one time.
No mutton busting. No
I was
calf
probably
scrambles.
like 10 or 11, and it was a calf scramble, and my sister was probably like 4 or so, and me and her had went in. Cal made a beeline for me for whatever reason. I scaled the like 12-foot fence. I just like flew over it and left my little sister chasing this cow with all these other kids.
No.
My dad was pissed. He was so mad at me. He was so mad. Yeah, he was pissed.
So they say selling the heat with the warmth. And these cowgirls ride by on their horses with Atherton flags. Hank just looks at it and goes, that's a lie.
Yeah.
So Dale says, all right, Joseph, tie him tight, then quick and clean across the throat. He's got a big Bowie knife he's giving to Joseph. Knife. He goes, he'll never feel a thing. Hank says, Dale, I think you just tie him up. There's no killing involved. Dale puts the knife up and goes, we need to pick up something for dinner on the way home. He was planning on killing a cow or a calf and then taking it home to eat it.
And cooking it. Yeah.
Hank says, son, you're going to be up against the farm boys, but we fed you like a farm boy, so go get them. All the boys go out. The calves get let out. The PA announcer says, all right, if our young bucks are ready, our young bulls are too. It's going to get crazy out there. Every cow for himself. Don't tie up anything with 2 legs and then go. And then the whole thing starts happening, right? All the kids start running out. Bobby comes out of a dust cloud. He's the last one to run out. And all of them are roping their calves. Bobby finally gets his, and Hank says, that's it, Bobby. Yeah, tie them up. Peggy says, rope them, tie them, grind them, fry them, take them home, and mincemeat pie them. Okay,
whatever that
Peggy,
means. Yeah.
Whatever the hell you're saying. And then Bobby is trying to tip over the calf once he's got it, and he goes, and down you go. Go down. Hey, Joseph, how do you? And he looks over, and Joseph is done. And he goes, time. And then Dale from the stands, Wingo, Joseph, another momentous day for the family gribble. Bobby says, you're going down, sister. And he's talking to the calf. And then the calf literally starts dragging Bobby across the dirt.
Yeah.
Bobby's just yelling. Hank says, yeah, that's it, Bobby. Tire him out. Hank gives Bobby every chance. He really does.
He does. He gives him plenty of chances, yeah.
He gives him every chance. Everybody's laughing. Bobby's like, oh, it's not funny. And then these rodeo clowns say, hey, mister, where's the fire? I said, where's the fire? Fire. And then another one comes out, and they're just, woo-hoo-hoo. They're running around. And then you hear the PA announcer say, ladies and gentlemen, Zip Twilly and Chet Howley, our rodeo clowns. Bobby looks at them and goes, ooh, rodeo clowns.
Yeah,
I mean,
he loves it.
It's like he's found his calling. He goes, oh, my God. And then we see the 2 rodeo clowns dump a bucket of water into the crowd, and, of course, it hits Hank, and Hank is drenched.
Drenched, absolutely drenched.
And that is the first commercial break, and we will be right back. Well, let me tell you, Rusty, eating healthy used to be a struggle for me, but that was before I discovered the BlendJet 2 portable blender.
The BlendJet 2.
Now when fast food temptation strikes, I just blend up a delicious and nutritious protein shaker smoothie. You know, they gave us a whole bunch of those little packages that came with the blender.
Yeah.
And there's some really good flavors in there. I mean, there's some like that matcha thing.
The green matcha?
Yeah, those are pretty damn good. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up smoothies at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. Maybe a human thumb. Don't put your thumb in it. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. Lasts for 15-plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C, which has saved us all. There's nothing worse than turning that USB thing over and over and over and over, and then finally finding how it plugs in, you know?
Oh, yeah, I don't like that
USB-C
either. Yes, USB-C saved us all.
Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap, and you're good to go. There's 30 plus colors and patterns to choose from. There's a BlendJet 2 to complement just about any style. We have a pink one? Lavender.
Pink one.
I think ours is lavender.
Mine is the Toy Story Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the Pizza Planet one.
Ooh, that one. Yeah. They've got some really cool colors, but I really like the patterns. I know one of the people here got one that looks like Woody the Sheriff.
Is there a code with them?
There is a code. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. Glab it today.
Glibbity glob.
And when you do glab it, make sure you use the promo code
BWAAA12.
That's to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code
BWAAA12
to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever.
BlendJet 2, formerly known as BlendJet.
Hey, everyone. It's me, your puzzle-loving pal. Did you know I was a puzzle-loving pal?
I didn't know you were a puzzle-loving pal.
I got to tell you about my latest obsession. It's Wongo puzzles. These things are the real deal. They are high quality, handcrafted, and perfect for anyone who loves a good challenge but doesn't want to dedicate their entire kitchen table to puzzles for a week. Trust me, I have been there. I will tell you this, my parents, they're very old and decrepit, and they do puzzles all the damn time.
Yeah.
Like there's always a table that has like an unfinished puzzle. Yeah, it's either that or I don't know.
Die.
Feel your bones. So these puzzles, these Wongo puzzles, they are 100% wooden. They'll last forever. Each piece is hand drawn. Just think about that for a second. Each piece is hand drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun whimsy pieces as you work through it.
Whimsy.
They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. Before we started doing this, I didn't realize how many people I know already have these Wongo puzzles. I mean, they're apparently pretty.
You can't go wherever Juan go.
With stunning designs and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. I loved doing the snow globe puzzle myself. It was great to pull out a puzzle and be done in a night and not have it on the table for a week. So what are you waiting for? Let's go to Wongo Puzzles, WONGO puzzles.com, and pick a puzzle today. And be sure to use the promo code
BWAAA
for 10% off your order. It's the most fun you'll have with a puzzle, guaranteed, or your money back. Go to WONGO puzzles.com and use your code
BWAAA
to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now. And we are back. We have just seen Hank get dumped a bucket of water by the clowns.
Yep.
And now we're in the clown trailer. Bobby has made his way. What I don't understand is how Bobby gets free so much. Like, where are his parents? He's just like wandering around all the time.
It's the 90s, though.
I guess.
Parents weren't really paying attention. I remember wandering around places as a kid. You just find other kids and hang out with the other kids wandering around.
So we see the clowns. One of them's taking his makeup off. The other one is digging a bottle cap out of his leg. I mean, like it's jammed into his leg. I mean, these guys are not living a wonderful life. But it's in the trailer. Bobby comes up and says, "Excuse me, sir, are you Zip Twilly?" Zip is still taking his makeup off in the mirror, and he goes, "What do you want? I don't know what your mama told you, but I had a vasectomy in 1983. Bobby says, "Oh, I'm not after your money. I want to be a rodeo clown like you." He goes, "How old are you?" He goes, "I'm in the 7th grade, but I'm just talking about after school while you're in town. I'm good." He goes, "Son, we're doing fine on our own, so if you'll go back to the 7th grade," says it like that.
Yeah, 7th grade.
And that just tells me he didn't make it to the 7th grade.
Yeah.
He goes, "Me and Chet are going to go round up the beer cans." And then both of them, they've got freaking trash bags, and they're picking up beer cans because I'm assuming they need the money. Bobby just puts his head down, and he starts walking away dejected. He stops, though, and he goes, "The baby routine doesn't work."
Yeah, he starts picking apart the comedy part of it. The baby routine just doesn't work.
He goes, "It's all talk. When the diaper blows up, it's like, finally." Then the doctor comes out and his bag explodes. What the heck does that mean? There's a logic to an exploding diaper. Kid cut a fart. Fine. Why would the bag explode? I mean, Bobby is breaking this sucker down. He's going line by line here. The radio clown goes, "We've been doing the baby routine for 20 years. Bobby says, why does that not surprise me? You need to get out of your ivory tower and see what's happening on the street.
Yeah, this is so funny.
Give the baby a giant bottle. He can hit you with it. He can squirt you with it. Now I'm laughing. One of the clowns look at the other one. He goes, kid knows his stuff. He doesn't have a costume, doesn't know the animals. Bobby says, I can learn. How about you? Man, Bobby, you turned that around on him real quick. Rodeo clown says, okay, but if anyone asks, you're a midget. The other one says, he's too big to be a midget. And the first one says, nobody's going to ask. So now they are all driving home. It's Hank and Peggy and Bobby. Hank is just dripping wet driving this car.
Yeah, soaked and pissed.
And he's just like, dang, rodeo clowns, Zippo and Frep Tapley. Well, that's not even close.
Not even close, but that's funny.
He goes, now I'm going to have
really funny.
He goes, now I'm going to have to throw this out. What? You're going to have to throw your clothes away? I mean, you got wet. He goes, who knows what else they use that bucket for?
Oh, yeah. See, yeah, that's probably their shit bucket.
Peggy says, oh, you do not want to know. We had rodeo clowns in Montana. They are not just inconsiderate. They are diseased freaks who will cut your throat for your invisible dog.
What?
What the hell does that mean?
Where are these writers from?
For your invisible dog.
One? Hold on, let's see who wrote this one. John Vitti. He's the guy who wrote The Return to La Grunta.
Well, he's the one that said John Vitti presents
The
Return to La Grunta.
Yeah.
Bobby pipes up from the back and says, and where do you think they get those ridiculous costumes? Hank's just kind of groaning. He goes, I tell you where, from Montgomery Weird. Peggy and Hank both laugh. She goes, that's good. Oh, Hank, you should send that into Joan Rivers. He goes, yeah, that's where I got it. And they're driving by.
I guess at this point, Joan Rivers would have
already
had her failed show. It would have already failed and been over with on
probably.
Fox at this point, because that was in the early 90s.
Yeah, they were trying to combat The Tonight Show.
I'm not sure why they thought Joan Rivers would have been a good option for that. I know she used to guest on Tony.
That's it, because she used to guest host. She used to guest host that, yeah. And so
honestly, it's probably the worst guest host, but she was one of the.
Yeah, she's a little rough.
She was on there the most though, wasn't she?
She's funny though.
She was like one of the top 3 guests of like, like how many times he had her on the show.
Yeah, he loved her.
Yeah, he did love her.
Her, Letterman, a couple other people were guest hosts a lot. I think
Leno for sure. That's how he got the gig, was Leno doing guest hosting.
Maybe so. Anyway.
Because that's what it was, is they had seen the ratings for Leno, and the reason why they didn't want to move Letterman from the spot is because he was getting good ratings there. Yeah. So they're like, well, if we can control this whole time slot on TV, and, Letterman didn't see it that way. He wanted the slot that Leno got.
Leno was funny at one point.
I don't know what point that was. I really like his car stuff. I watch his car YouTube channel a lot.
When he used to come on Letterman and do those headlines and all that stuff, that was funny.
Oh,
he
when
was
they
a
were
funny
friends,
comedian. Then he was a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's good. If you like,
he
like
was
that
good
kind of humor.
then. But then he got the Tonight Show and he got really tamed down. So they're driving home and they drive by Bill. He's out hanging his laundry, and Bobby's eyes go straight to the red and white striped boxers that are on the line.
Yeah.
The next thing we see is kind of a little montage of Bobby sneaking around the house. He's gotten the boxers off the line. He looks in the side table and gets Hank's old glasses. He, of course, goes in the closet and gets his mom's gigantic shoes.
Yeah. That's funny. He goes and gets his mom's shoes. Yeah.
Those big friggin' things. And then he goes into Luann's room, and he's looking through her makeup, and he gets a couple out, and he goes, ooh, Desert Rose, Autumn Sunset. Yes. So he's got his costume now. And now he's outside. The Jack-in-the-Box is what I can assume, because it's a giant clown head in a drive-through.
Yeah.
Right? He's just staring at this clown head. And Joseph is over on the side. He's like any, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old kid. He's balancing on the wall behind the thing. Yeah. And he goes, Bobby says, which is funnier, a happy clown or a sad clown? Joseph says, 6 of 1. He goes, they've got to let you be a clown. You're the funniest person I know. He goes, well, your dad's really funny.
Yeah. Well,
Hank's funny?
No, I don't think so at all. That's the another arty thing here. So this Bobby hiding, becoming a rodeo clown from everybody, and how he's trying to be secretive about it, is reminiscent of 1927's motion picture, The Jazz Singer. So for anybody that's not seen The Jazz Singer, which is probably about 99.9% of you, 1927, Al Jolson. So what it is, he's the son of a Jewish cantor who becomes a performer of ragtime and jazz, but he does it secretly, and that's how Al Jolson does all the
blackface.
I think that's what it is in that movie is blackface is what he dresses up as, and what it is they wear the makeup to hide their identity because their dad doesn't approve of what they enjoy. So Al Jolson doing blackface in that particular movie, and Al Jolson was really revered by the black community. What he did at that time wasn't like he wasn't like vilified for it or nothing like that, because in this specific movie, all he was doing was disguising himself to hide from his dad, kind of thing.
Well, he was showing what was happening in real life. So Bobby says he sees Joseph.
Oh yeah, sorry, hold on.
I'm sorry.
I forgot to add. It was the that particular movie though is. It was like one of the first ones to have a soundtrack, and it was like marking the transition between silent to talkies, as they call them.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It was like the transition film.
Absolutely, that was a big one. Bobby sees Joseph kind of jump a little bit on the wall, and he goes, "Wow, I'm not even sure Carrie Strug could do that in cowboy boots."
He loves Carrie Strug.
And then he just kind of looks up at this guy and goes, Carrie Strug in cowboy boots.
He loves Carrie Strug.
Oh, I know. That's his deal.
Yeah.
That's his deal. All right, we're back at the rodeo. The announcer is saying, Joseph Gribble on Bronchosaurus. He scraped him up good. That's an 85. He throws off Joseph and all that stuff. You hear the crowd going crazy. Then you see the two, Bobby is all made up, and he comes over to talk to the clowns. And one of the clowns says, those boxers hadn't been made in 20 years. Where'd you get them? Bobby says, wouldn't you like to know? The clown says, all right, you got the look, but let's see you get a horse to notice you. He goes, this guy's going down. And then we see a guy getting onto a very mean horse. The PA announcer goes, and now back to the adults. Give all your encouragement to Klay Henry because he's riding Mr. Dead. A horse is a hearse, of course, of course. So you know the song, Mr. Ed?
I actually loved that show, and I had a guest on my other podcast whose horse was her manager had approached her to put her horse in the ring for a Mr. Ed reboot.
Really?
Pinky Davis, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So
instead of Mr. Ed, it's Mr. Dead.
Mr. Dead.
And instead of a horse is a horse, of course, of course. It's a horse is a hearse, of course, of course.
Yep.
Just really top-notch humor. Anyway, the cowboy ends up getting thrown off. The Bobby looks at the clowns. The clowns go, all right, be my guest, because he's going to go out there and prove himself. Bobby runs out there and goes, yoo-hoo, aloha, aloha, you, and he's like shaking his butt at the horse and all that stuff. But you see the horse just doesn't care. He keeps trampling on the poor cowboy over there.
Yeah, just beating him up.
Yeah, and then finally the clowns say, all right, and then they just go out and they take action and take care of it. Next, we're in the alley. And the guys are there, and Bobby is he's let down because he wasn't able to keep the horse from doing what he's supposed to. Bobby comes by walking Ladybird on a leash, and Hank says, hey, there's Ben Cartwright. When's your next calf scramble? You know who Ben Cartwright is? Bonanza.
Oh, Bonanza.
TV show Bonanza, yeah. And then Bobby says, they keep shifting things around to keep us on our toes. Hank says, well, when you find out, I'll put in for the Strickland luxury box. You got a luxury box at the rodeo?
At the rodeo.
Yeah. He goes, Hector's got the afternoons reserved, but if I send him to McManerberry in the old truck, what's he going to do about it? Bobby says, okay, but like I said, and then Hank says, I hear Joseph want another belt buckle, talking to Dale. He just didn't even listen to whatever Bobby said. Dale says, you mean this? And he's got the buckle on. He goes, anybody want to wrestle me for it? I have Joseph's strength now. Like that belt buckle gives him his kid's strength. Hank says, I tell you what, this rodeo's worked out pretty good for both our sons. I haven't heard the words prop comic since Bobby picked up a rope, and it keeps him away from the Vidya games. Vidya, not video.
Vidya games.
He was playing this Tomb Raider game where he was a girl. That is not what Hank's about.
Nope.
Now
that game was actually released in November 14th of 1996.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there was like 40 of them. Like there was a ton of those Tomb Raider games.
They're still making them.
Yeah. Oh, are they?
Yeah, they still make them. I don't think there's been one made in a few years.
It's all VR.
That's probably the next one. Tomb Raider VR. I bet you there probably is. Yeah.
So now we're.
Yeah, it was actually Tomb Raider was my first experience with animated breasts. The PS1
sure.
Octagonal
missiles.
missiles.
Yeah.
Look like Madonna.
Yeah. Madonna looks terrible these days, by the way.
Madonna looks like she got cut up with a knife in an alley and
She
had a
looks
bunch
like-
of trash stuffed in her face.
She looks like
It's terrible.
An entire hive of bees stung her on the face.
Well,
Her
I think
face
the
is so
problem with
swollen.
it, I think her problem was,
Money?
yeah, it's actually
Fame?
called Tomb Raider VR, Lara's Escape on VR. It's called
There
Lara's
you go.
Escape. So
Sure.
there you go. But no, for her, I think what it was for her, she was a sex symbol for so long that she's just trying to recapture that in some way, shape, or form with all this plastic surgery. But it's never going to work. She's just insecure with growing old.
She should have
because
just
of the
leaned.
industry.
She should have leaned into her kids' career. I mean, that's Lords. You know, I mean, that's
Oh, is that?
Yeah,
Lords?
that's
You
her-
talking about
that's her
I want to
daughter.
be better.
That's her daughter.
That's her
yeah.
daughter? I didn't know that.
Why not just lean into that? You know, I mean, help her kid or whatever.
Yeah,
But
like everybody else
anyway,
does.
She probably sees her as a threat.
Like everybody else does.
Okay, so now Bobby's at the rodeo. We see the horses and the cows, and Bobby is all made up, and he's over there performing in front of them while the clowns watch, and he goes, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" He goes, "You know, I think I'm ready to save some cowboys." The clowns say, "Cowboys, we save their butts and when they get thrown, but they'll pull your britches down when you're talking to your woman." Bobby looks at him and goes, "You guys have women?" The guy just goes, "Yes." Like, I don't know how often they're getting women, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I feel like, you know what I really feel like? I feel like that the rodeo clowns probably do better with women than the cowboys do.
Yeah?
Well, I mean, the women, of course, want the cowboys, but there's only one cowboy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So eventually, I mean, not every woman could have the one cowboy, so they got to go for this. They got to go somewhere.
Yeah,
so I
I
feel like the
guess.
rodeo clowns are the funny guys. That, you know,
Just in sheer
humor
numbers.
wins.
In
Humor
sheer
wins.
numbers, huh?
Well, humor wins too.
Well,
so.
humor wins, but I don't know that slapstick humor wins. You know? I think there's a fine line there.
I once, as a freshman in high school, ate a handful of dirt, and a senior girl had one of her senior friends come ask me out for
Oh,
her.
my
So
God.
it does work. Slapstick comedy works.
Wow. Bobby says, you know, my best friend's a cowboy. Maybe we can start the healing because the cowboys and clowns should be friends. We eat the same dust. We've got the same smell.
Yeah.
And then the horse behind him just kicks him, knocks him the hell out. He is groaning and stuff. He's laying on the ground. He starts to wake up. Joseph is there taking his makeup off. He goes, "What happened? The last thing I remember was being kicked by a horse." Joseph says, "Come on, Bobby. We can't let your dad see you in clown makeup." And then some of the kids come walking by and they go, "Hey, Joseph, they say rodeo clowns smell like cow pies, but I hear it's the other way around." So Joseph has already got a look on his face like, "Oh, shit, this is my friend, you know, but do I be with the cool kids or do I defend my friend and all that?" Now, Bobby is in his...
And if you have to ask yourself that question, then you're probably not
Yep.
that person's
Yep,
friend.
that's right. Bobby's in his bed back at the house with a cold compress on his head. Hank's sitting there on the bed talking to him, and he goes, "Your first concussion. Now, don't fall asleep, son, because you could die and because I want to tell you how proud I am of you."
Yeah.
He goes, "I mean, look at you. The bruises, the dirty clothes, the smell. You're all right. Is there anything I can get you?" Bobby says, "The blonde girl who lives here says I like fruit pies." The blonde girl. He goes, "No, you don't. Tough guy like you like sports." All right, we're back at the clown trailer. And Zip says, "Now, kid, it's hard for an old clown to admit he's made a mistake. It's a lot easier just to leave town and change your name. But when I said you didn't have what it takes to be a rodeo clown, I was wrong." And he reaches back and he grabs this pad. He starts to hand it to Bobby, and he goes, "Here's your ass pad, son."
Which,
Your ass pad.
according to the Artie files here, it says that rodeo clowns wear a variety of padding.
Oh, I bet they do.
Ass pad being one of them, but
Sure.
they wear a variety of pads because a lot of it has to do with being gored by a bull.
Well, I mean,
They have to have some kind of like stab protection
sure.
from the bull.
Well,
so
and
they
the
get
thing
gored.
the thing you see a lot is them getting in those barrels and the barrels being knocked around and all that stuff.
If you ever get a chance,
Dude, you
when
got to have some pads.
go on YouTube and Google like rodeo clown compilation clips and see how they get tossed around. You do see like the rodeo guy riding a bull get ragdolled a lot.
Sure.
But they're only at risk for as long as they're sitting on top of that bull, and then they can climb a fence and they're gone.
Right.
The rodeo clown has to get that
Just
bull
the
back
opposite. Yeah.
into where it's supposed to go into its
Yeah.
pen. So whereas the rodeo guy, riding the bull might be in the pen, with the active live bull running around for
Sure.
maybe 15 seconds. The other guys are going to be in there for a good 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're in
trying
there
to
for a
wrangle
while.
them around because sometimes it takes a little while to get the bull wrangled up, especially if it's been really pissed off because they do sit there and shock them and kick them and stuff to piss them off.
Next thing we see is we're at Tom Landry Middle School. We're on the school playground, and we got Dooley with a kid in a headlock, and he says, "Your lunch money had a Canadian quarter."
Imagine he stole the kid's lunch money, tried to use it, and because he thought he stole $1.50, but all he stole was $1.25.
Bobby comes walking up. He goes, "Hey, Dooley, that little squirt's not bothering you. Now, if you want to see an annoying little squirt," and he squirts his little flour in his face.
Yeah.
Dooley he turns around, and Dooley just starts kicking him in the ass. And he goes, "You've got dust coming out of your butt." Because Bobby's got that pad on, you know. And Joseph is standing in the little crowd, and he goes, "Come on, Bobby, you proved your point. You're weirding me out." Bobby says, "Well, allow me to turn the other cheek." And he turns the other butt cheek, and Dooley's kicking it. And Joseph just kind of shakes his head and walks off. Now we're at we're watching Hank and Peggy through the kitchen window from the outside, and Bobby comes by in his cowboy gear. Peggy is pouring Hank some coffee, and he goes, "Look, Peggy, I think he's loping." He goes, "Well, he's actually loping." Well, he's skipping now, but he was loping, and I guess loping is a way that a cowboy walks, I'm assuming.
I've never heard it called loping. I've heard it. I've seen like a bow-legged strut. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I don't know if you'd call it loping.
Loping.
Anytime I hear the term loping, I think of a 454 big block with a big cam in it going blub, 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 blub.
Really?
That's what I think of loping.
I always
that
think of
sound
like
that
an
a car
interloper.
Makes. Oh, an interloper.
You know? And Peggy says, and this is one of my favorite lines of the whole show, "Our little cowboy is becoming a cowman." I love that. I think it's just the stupidest thing ever.
Have you ever wondered that though?
Cowman.
As masculine as
being called a boy.
Being called a boy, a cowboy. I'm a cowboy. Well, are you a cowman?
Cowman.
You can't be a cowman. I think that's what I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna start doing that when people say,
Cowman.
"Well, I'm a cowboy." I'm like, "Well, why can't you be a cowman? Are you not
for
man
the
enough?"
Dallas Cowmen.
Yeah.
Hank says, "I didn't tell Bobby, but I'm bringing a client to the rodeo this afternoon. I wouldn't want Bobby to know that a propane sale is hanging in the balance."
Damn.
All right, now no kidding, right? Now we're at
all on Bobby.
We're at the
He
rodeo.
brings work home too much.
Oh, that's all he does. That's all he thinks about.
Yeah.
We're at the rodeo, and the announcer says, "Strap another buckle on Joseph Gribble, his third win this week." Wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. We have a late entrant in the chicken roping. Joseph was over there getting another buckle from somebody on the dirt. And then out comes Bobby on a fake little horse, and he's got his rope, and he's trying to lasso a chicken that he's chasing around in the ring. And instead of lassoing the chicken, he lassos the pretty girl.
Yeah.
And then pops his hat up and down like, hey, lady. The cowgirl's just kind of laughing. And then Bobby ends up falling down, and Hank can't tell that it's Bobby yet, and he looks at his client and goes, "Oh, the clown fell in some poop." And then Bill comes over and
That's
goes,
my underwear.
"Hey, that's my underwear." Hank says, "Well, that's one mystery solved, but why would that clown want to?" And then Dale pipes up and goes, "Those are Peggy's shoes."
Which is odd that Dale would know what
He
Peggy.
knows shit,
yeah,
right?
That's what makes me like, "Ooh, all right,
He goes,
Dale."
"Those are Peggy's shoes." "Hank, it's Bobby." Hank says, "Bobby?" And then some kid standing on the sideline talking to Joseph, he goes, "Isn't that your friend?" And Joseph, being embarrassed, he goes, "Well, he lives next door to me, but they say that rodeo clowns smell like cow pies, but I hear it's the other way around." Everybody just laughs. And then Dale says, "He's funnier than Bobby, too." And that is our next commercial break. We see Bobby crying in his makeup because everybody's making fun of him.
Yep.
And we'll take this break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Rusty, did you know that you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee?
No, I didn't know that.
I mean, I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned a bottle around to actually see what's inside. You know, recently I did, and I found out many of my favorite creamers, like especially the one my wife used to use, they contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil,
Ooh.
potassium phosphate, whatever
Sounds
that is.
Terrible.
Artificial flavors. I can't take artificial flavors a lot of the time.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
A lot
good
of
on
them
any
just taste-
flavoring.
they taste
I
gross.
don't like flavors in my coffee. I like the earth and flavor of coffee.
I mean, I love coffee. Don't get me wrong. I do love it. I just I don't like all that crap in my coffee, right?
Yeah, no, it does that.
So let me tell you about Laird Superfoods then. They have better ingredients, amazing taste, and functional benefits. Laird Superfood Creamers are crafted from the highest quality, all-natural, real food ingredients. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. Now, they're all natural. They've got whole food ingredients. They contain naturally occurring MCTs from coconut oil. And everybody tells you coconut oil is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no artificial flavors, no colors, no additives, no sugar from highly refined corn syrup. So that's a big deal right there. If you take one thing you do every day and make it better, Laird developed his creamer himself to stay powered for a day on the waves. He was a big wave surfer, Laird Hamilton was, and he needed a morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. So he made this creamer, and it is it's crazy, crazy good. Laird sources high-quality plant-based ingredients globally and puts an emphasis on U.S. sources whenever possible. They aim to source responsibly and sustainably and believe that the food you consume should be as good for the earth as they are for you. They have honest and transparent products and labels. If you try it, you won't go back. They have functional superfood creamers, instant lattes, and prebiotic greens. They have a variety of snacks and supplements full of wholesome plant-based ingredients to keep you charged for wherever life takes you. So to get a deal on Laird Superfoods, I need you to go to zen.ai BWAAA King of the Hill. So that's zen.ai/BWAAA King of the Hill. And your offer code there is BWAAA. So Laird Superfoods makes a better creamer that keeps you powered all day, and it's better for you, the earth, and your coffee. What do you say, Rusty? You want to go get some coffee?
Coffee.
Hey, Rusty.
Yeah.
Did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of daytime fatigue?
Oh, no.
I don't know about you, but like 2:30, 3 o'clock, I just hit a wall almost every day. I was shocked to learn that even mild dehydration can cause headaches, muscle weakness, brain fog, but luckily there's a cure.
Oh, there is?
Actually, I should have said there's a solution. It's called Cure. Cure Hydration. The Cure Hydration is an oral rehydration solution, or ORS, that contains the perfect balance of electrolytes. We know how important that is because plants crave it.
Super important.
And glucose to help your body absorb water and rehydrate quickly. The formula is made with all natural ingredients like coconut water, powder, and pink Himalayan salt. Whoopee. And it is free from artificial flavors, sweeteners, and preservatives. Cure Hydration is vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO. That makes it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions and preferences. The packets that they give you, they're convenient. They're easy to use. You just mix them with water and drink. They're perfect for on-the-go, travel, or anytime you need quick hydration. Hydration is more than just drinking water, Rusty. It is, that's what Lauren Picasso, a lifelong endurance athlete, discovered as she struggled to stay hydrated no matter how much water she drank. I've known people like that. My wife drinks so much water, it's crazy. Lauren found Cure, a science-backed electrolyte drink mix to make hydration easy for everyone. Cure believes that hydration should be simple and effective, but also clean and natural. That's why they only use the highest ingredients and quality plant-based stuff to avoid any artificial or harmful additives. They're committed to transparency and honesty. All of their ingredients are clearly listed on their website and packaging, and they're always happy to answer any questions or concerns. So are you ready to combat dehydration?
Absolutely.
You can try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use your code
BWAAA. Sorry, I blanked.
You're good. For 20% off your order. Try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use our special code
BWAAA
for 20% off your order. Your coupon will be activated at checkout. Try Cure Hydration. Stop drying out.
All right, and we are back. So Bobby is brokenhearted because people are laughing at him, not with him, as far as being a rodeo clown. We're back in the Hill house in the kitchen. Peggy is washing her shoes in the sink because they figured out that Bobby's this clown. Hank is really worried in the back. He goes, maybe this is my fault. I kept clowns away from him as a child, so he never got scared by one.
Yeah, I was never really scared of clowns. So
I wasn't
don't know.
either. I don't really understand.
I don't understand the fear.
The creepiest clowns I ever saw were there was one in Poltergeist. That was a little creepy. And then Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, I've seen that's a good movie.
It is a good movie. It's a terrible movie, but it's made to be terrible.
It's made to be It's one of those movies that's meant to be bad, like Kung Pao and all that stuff.
Kung Pao. Okay.
That's a really good
now
one.
You're talking about something. Kung Pao.
Odenkirk, isn't that his name?
Kung Pao is one of my all-time favorites.
That's Odekirk. I say Odenkirk.
Odekirk.
It's Odekirk.
Different dude.
Yeah, Odekirk.
He's got those giant nipples.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
It's so good.
Or the shoes.
I like when he's just rolling down the hill and it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. He just never stops.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I haven't seen that in so long.
Yeah, I saw that on a list yesterday, and I was like,
you know what clown scared me? The 2016 clown incident. Remember all the clowns that just appeared?
The ones that were just
all the
standing
weird
in the
shit
woods.
that was happening in like 2006. I think it was like 2016.
Well, it was right after it, and then
it was right after the first,
Yeah.
The first it, yeah.
Yeah. But these were creepy ass clowns.
No, it was really
like
creepy.
Michael Myers
like
as a clown kind of thing.
Like people were getting accosted, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people were getting chased by
gross,
clowns with knives in their hands and stuff. It was really weird. Yeah, it was really weird.
It seemed very much like a Reddit kind of.
You know what it felt like?
Thing,
you know what I bet it was? I bet it was like some viral marketing campaign from like the studio, from
maybe
the production studio.
It could be.
They had like people go out and chase people and stuff, just kind of like.
That's a great campaign.
That would have been great, and nobody ever knew about it. But the movie at the time trended all the way, like shot way up because
it was good,
of
though. The movie
stuff.
was good.
Oh, you talking about the new one?
Well, either one, yeah. The
two new ones. Yeah, I like them. I thought they were really good.
Anyway, he says he thinks it's his fault, and Peggy says, "Do not be so hard on yourself. It is not your fault." And then she starts crying. She goes, "It's all my fault. My uncle wasn't a cowboy, Hank. He was a dirty, drunken rodeo clown." Hank says, "Don't tell me, Uncle Boffo."
Uncle Boffo?
Wait, his name is Uncle Boffo, and you didn't know he was a clown? You thought he was a cowboy? Okay, so Hank is in Bobby's room, and he's getting rid of all the clown stuff, because that's the way you teach kids stuff. You just get rid of all their things. Bobby's like, hey, that's Luann's makeup. Hank says, you're not only a clown, you're a thief. I don't know which is worse. Clown.
That's fucked up that they thought a clown's worse than a thief.
He sits on the bed with Bobby. Bobby's got his head in the pillow, and he's just like, Bobby, I'm trying to help you. You see, a circus clown is a carny who's too stupid to flip a ride switch on and off. Jesus.
Damn.
He goes, now you take a circus clown, roll him on the barn floor, and kick him in the head a couple of hundred times, and what have you got? And Bobby's like, your son. Like, it's just such a lesson, you know. I'm your son. Now we're back in the alley. We get, yep. Then we get to Hank, and he's just like, and then boom, and then Dale starts humming this calliope music, like, and Hank's like, all right, Dale, okay. Joseph comes riding up on his bike with a big old belt buckle on. He goes, hey, Dad, I won the goat roping, and they're going to let me ride a baby bull tomorrow. My time was so good, they made me take a drug test.
Yeah.
Dale says, woo, the only drug you're on is gribacillin. He looks at Hank, and he goes, and you told me gribacillin would possess no performance-enhancing qualities. And then Bobby's on the back porch, and he's just all sullen and downtrodden, and he watches kind of Joseph ride by. We're back at the rodeo, and Bobby's up in the stands with Hank and Peggy, and he goes, cheer up, Bobby. Except for the cowboy and the man who straps the bull's genitals, there's nobody more important than the friends cheering in the stands. The man who straps the bull's genitals.
Yeah.
The announcer comes
on. They got to
on.
piss him off.
Oh,
That's like, I'm sure it's probably not as bad as it used to be how they do things now.
Sure.
But I know they're hitting them with cattle prods
still
and
rough.
stuff like. They're still tasing them, tasing them and riling them up.
Oh yeah.
And those bulls are big. They use Brahma bulls, and they're temperamental bulls. Period. Yeah. Even if you're not antagonizing it, they're just generally amped up animals.
But I don't know that the man who straps the bull's genitals is the most important guy.
I don't know.
The announcer comes on and goes, and now special event, riding our baby bull problem child is 3-buckle boy Joseph Gribble. Bobby just doesn't even want to watch it. He says, I'm going to go get a hot dog. He's pretty depressed. Dale is back behind him and goes, I love my boy. Don't you love my boy, Hank? Joseph gets let out of the chute. He gets bucked off in slow motion. Zip the clown runs up and with a bell, but he gets kicked by this bull.
Yeah.
And knocked the hell out. And then you hear a woman in or the other clown comes out. He gets kicked, and you see just his horn fly by. You hear a lady up in the stands. Oh dear, that boy's going to be gored. Bobby sees it on his way to get a hot dog, and then he sees this old lady sitting there. He grabs the old lady's hat and shades and puts them on, and then he starts heading out there because he's going to take care of this. And Hank says, wait, Bobby. And he puts lipstick on him. And he goes, go, Bobby. And then Bobby runs out there. He goes up to the bull, and he goes, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then he grabs a fire extinguisher. He bends over and puts the fire extinguisher between his legs like he's farting. And he goes, what did I eat? Oh, please, everyone, avoid the nachos. And then he starts shooting the fire extinguisher at the bull. Oi, oi. And then the bull chases Bobby. Bobby jumps in a barrel. The barrel gets gored by the bull. And then from inside the barrel, you hear, don't worry, everybody, I'm fine. And then he shoots some of that fire extinguisher out and goes, oh, not so fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we see the clowns are still on the ground. Joseph is getting drug off because he's hurt his leg. And Bobby has saved the day out on the rodeo field.
Saved the day.
Now we're at the ambulance. Joseph is in the ambulance getting patched up. He gets a cast put on in an ambulance, which is a little weird.
Yeah, that is a little weird. Well, actually, it might not be so weird for like immediate trauma at like a rodeo or something like that. Like a football game, just to stay. Well, they're putting a full cast on, so that's a little weird. That is a little weird. But they usually do air cast or something.
Yeah, an air cast. But Joseph looks at Bobby and he goes, "There's only room for one autograph." So they're friends again. Yeah. Bobby says, "I'd much rather have one of your buckles." And Joseph stops and gives him his buckle, and he goes, "Okay, but that doesn't make you my buckle bunny." Bobby says, "Oh yes, sir, it does." Yeah. Then we get the credits. That's it. That's it. After the credits, we hear Zip say, "Here's your ass pad, son."
And then I got a quick rodeo clown history for everybody. The history of rodeo clowns. So beginnings of competitive rodeo begin in the early 1900s. Yeah. And what it was is promoters would have trouble keeping people in the stands in between people doing their bull riding or whatever, or the horse riding. Yeah. So they would hire these guys to come in and entertain the crowd, kind of, or whatever. Right. Well, what ended up happening is in the 20s, they switched to these temperamental bulls, which is the ill-tempered Brahma bull. So when they switched to these bulls in the 20s, they now needed somebody to distract the bull from, if somebody fell off, they needed somebody. Sure, so they were performers. They were performers at first, but then they became this what they call a rodeo protection athlete. That's the official moniker. It evolves into something even more. So you have American bullfighting. So they actually have competitions for this since, I didn't even know this was even a thing, but apparently these techniques, the proper term for these guys is actually a bullfighter. They're called bullfighters. The rodeo clown. It's a lot more. Sure. It's a lot more, and that's the whole point of this episode.
Soccer or football.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of this episode. It's like a tongue-in-cheek rodeo clown, ha ha. Yeah. When they actually in the rodeo world, they're probably more revered within the industry. Yeah. They're probably more revered than the guys who are actually on the bulls because
they serve a huge purpose.
Without them guys, if you get hurt, you got this 1,000-pound bull running around in this pen. You ain't got nobody to get him away from you. Yeah. You're his target. Yeah. And they will just toss. If you just left a bull with that guy, when they start tossing them, that bull will stop until it's tired.
Oh, absolutely.
It won't. It'll just continue to toss you and beat you up until it is done. Sure. And when it's done, you're dead. Done. You're dead by the time it's done. Yeah. So they're super, super important. And I think it's really cool how long they've actually been around. Like I said, it's been since the 20s that they've been doing this, and this whole culture of keeping these guys safe. So the barrel thing didn't come in until the 30s. There was this a rodeo clown. His name was Jazzbo Fulkerson. So if that fits the weird names, like the Zippo guy or whatever. So this guy, and then there was another one called Wick Peth. So that's another weird name. Wow. Earl Bascom. was another guy. But they were all,
Wick Path.
all rodeo clowns. Yeah. In 95, Earl W. Bascom was honored as the oldest living rodeo clown in the world at 89 years old. But Australia, too, had a huge rodeo scene at the same time.
They get the hell beat out of them.
I didn't know that Australia, so at the same time that America was establishing their rodeo scene, Australia was having a rodeo scene, too. It makes sense with
Australia since there were a lot of convicts sent to Australia. You know what I mean? Like and prison rodeos and things like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure. So it's now they have a whole sport of their own called freestyle bullfighting. So it's different than the Spanish bullfighting, because Spanish bullfighting is a lot of it is
Spanish bullfighting is more presentation,
killing. Yeah. They actually kill the animal.
Yeah.
But in this one, they don't kill, and they actually get points for like how they maneuver. Yeah. So like they do a spin.
Yeah, sure.
A spin and a flip.
Yeah.
And,
that's
10
cool.
points for spinning out the way. Whatever it is.
I'd watch that.
I think I'm gonna look it up when I get done.
That'd
I'm gonna
cool.
go check out some stuff on YouTube. But there you go, guys. That is our rodeo
clown
episode. And if you really want to know a great rodeo clown, a great barrelman, his name is Flint Rasmussen.
Flint Rasmussen.
I just thought it was a great name.
That's a wonderful
A lot
names.
of great names.
I love these names.
He lives in Billings, Montana.
All right, Flint. Well, guys, thank you again for joining us. We appreciate it as always. Can't thank you guys enough for helping support us. Jordan, you're represented here by your Squishmallow.
The Squishmallow.
And you want to tell them where they can find us?
You can find us at bwaaakoth.com, or you can find us at Rogue Media Network /bwaaakoth. You can also find us on patreon.com if you want to go support us. We have a $3 tier, and then we have some other tiers.
We are working on it.
We're getting content ready for that to get that up there for y'all. So
we will have content, I promise. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and we will see you on Friday for That Ain't Right.
Wimatanye.
Wimatanye, indeed. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.